learning and software development for more than 25 years. He's been in this domain. He has more than 15 years of teaching experience in the area of data mining, qualitative analysis, data statistics, finance, accounting, and law. And we're also joined today by Regine, who is a part of the admissions team at Nanyang Technology University. We're really glad to have you both here today. Without further ado, I would actually, before we go into the masterclass, I'd love to do a quick poll so all of us here can get a sense of where you are in your academic journey, as well as for the attendees. We're going to launch a quick poll on your screen now. If for everyone attending, you can select the year in which you're planning to pursue your master's program. So is it 2022? Is it 23? Is it 24? Or are you currently undecided and looking at your options? So are you considering a master's program in 2022, 2023, 24, or later? It's going to be a quick second. If you can, make the choice, select your choice on the screen. We're going to keep the poll on for another 15 seconds. So I'd really encourage all the attendees to select the choice that most resonates with their mindset today. Are you considering your master's program in 2022, 2023, 2024, or later? Wonderful. We're going to try and close the poll in just about 5 seconds. Let's look at what the results look like. Brilliant. So there's about 23% if you're looking at 2022, 28% looking at 2023, 15% closely looking at 2024, and about 35% if you are currently undecided which year would be most ideal for you. So we really hope today's session gives you an understanding of how businesses are using AI and how learning more about this domain through a specialized master's can potentially help you in your career too. With that, I'd like to welcome Professor TT to take over the stage and talk to us about how AI is used in enterprise.
Okay, I hope you can see my screen. And now I'm going to put into presentation mode. Okay. Very good afternoon to everyone. Singapore time now is 7:30, around there, 7+. So now, today I want to share with you, I think these are just some question is talking about this, whether AI can assist us or can replace us. Maybe maybe I just want to share with you that not all the time machine actually can do better than human. Okay, but I just want to focus on those areas that currently machine can do better than human. So I just want to point out certain area, for example, in speech. Actually, the accuracy for English speech to text, if you use Google Python library, which we have been using it, and it's only a few lines of codes, and the accuracy is like 99%. So even the English that if you are, you have some certain slang, etc., is no issue. So actually Google recognition actually can do that. And it can do it in a very fast mode. Usually a statement like 30, 40 words, you probably just need maybe less than 1 second to do it in just a normal computer. And then come to text. So for today, for us to understand text, right, we are using this thing called word embedding. And the word embedding that we are using actually is we use vectorization. So in a very complex statement, we actually Google actually change it to a string of numbers like 300 numbers, and they already vectorize more than like 10 billion or 100 billion even word number. This is a statement, and to become a string of like 300 numbers. So machine do not need to read the statement as a word per se. So for example, you say, how are you? Actually, machine do not need to understand every single word. So it just vectorize into certain numbers. So this we are actually entering into this vectorization of words. And with that, right, we a machine can read a statement of 30 words in 0.1 second, where human probably in 1 second we probably can read maybe 5 words or 6 words, you know. So that is on a text perspective. From the images perspective, right? Currently, we actually using this. Yes. So you please put your question in the chat. My chat is actually on the site now. So if you talking about images, just to give you some sense of how strong is machine. So today, if you are using those neural network with many layers, we actually can detect a small object where just give you some sense on as a human, right? From machine perspective, the maximum layer for us to dissect a photo, right, is maybe 3 to 4 layers. But today, if you are using like open source library like ResNet, it's 150 layers. So we actually, human cannot detect all the micro. We can detect, like, for example, a whole human face, we can do that. But for very micro object, right, detection, right, we can't do that. Human eyes, but machine can do that. So if you look at 3 layers versus 150 layers, machine is 50 times more powerful than us today. And the library, if you use ResNet, is actually pre-trained by many photos. You just need to download, probably take you 15 minutes to 20 minutes to download the weight in this neural net. And I do not know exactly, but it's definitely this neural network that you download have this model has seen many photos before. So therefore, in terms of application, if you look at cardiologies, where you need to look at small items like eye disease detection, etc., machine definitely can perform better than human. So speech, in many aspects, machine can do better. Text, images. Now let's go to the last thing, very important one. It's called reinforcement learning. Now, what does reinforcement learning do is that this is the research that, for example, OpenAI, right? This donated by Elon Musk. I think now easily maybe 10 billion. And so what does reinforcement learning do is that, so in most of the situation, we are actually predicting. So, predicting whether the share price go up or down, you know. But in reinforcement learning, our outcome is the action, not the prediction. And the prediction is the input. For example, we say you predict the share price goes up. But so what you want the machine to advise you is, should I buy, or should I hold, or should I sell if I have? So that is called reinforcement learning. And just to give you also another example of reinforcement learning on human versus machine again, if you're looking at all the game, most of the games, like for example, chess game, the Go games, right?
Sorry, Professor, just a quick thing.
Sure.
Are you moving through slides, because we can only see the cover slide at this point?
Yeah. Sure. I haven't moved to the slide yet. So
Okay.
yeah. So okay, maybe I can just start with this. So so for the reinforcement learning, right? In the games, if you're a world champion, you probably can look at 6 steps ahead, 7 steps ahead. That's probably the best you can do. But for machine to do that, it's very easy. Usually for a finite environment, we use this thing called 𝗀𝗽𝗲𝗍. And you can just tell the 𝗀𝗽𝗲𝗍, I want you to search 12 steps ahead. That's it. But of course, it will take hours, take a long time. But eventually, when the machine learn it, it's definitely can beat human, can be better than human, because human can only think 6 steps ahead, right? So for a machine to program 10 steps ahead, it's no issue. So if you look at speech, word, images, and reinforcement learning means action. Actually, in many aspects, machine is even as at 2022, with all the open source, we are actually very ready to do that. Okay, to assist human, not as in to replace human, to assist human to do many things, especially those things that like for example, small images, right? That is something that not easy for human to detect, or almost impossible. Or even text, if let's say I want to read a document of 100 pages, can you please check whether is there any error? It's not easy for human to do that in a short time, right? So we have actually done quite a lot of project on scanning the document, use machine to read through the document, and it actually perform better than human, especially when the document has many, many pages. So this is the book that I have published. So I actually whatever I'm telling you actually is in this. I put it in this book, and my library actually have my PDF book, and is this AI book is actually almost the same as what I've just told you. So there's a speech, there's text, there's images, there's reinforcement learning. So yeah, so maybe I just go in addition to this AI. So now AI is not alone. So you can't, it's not easy to say, oh, I just want to do AI, but because the whole technology evolved. So actually all our AI model, we move to cloud. And usually you need to understand cloud, like for example, AWS, or maybe a smaller cloud like Heroku, etc. And big data is also important because we need to access the data first before we can start to model, right? So you need to learn how to extract data from Hadoop, which is currently the most, for the file operating system is the most popular one. It's just like Windows is the most popular operating system, right? And of course, front, back end, and UI UX is becoming very important. See, if you look at Zoom, right, the UI UX is so convenient, right? So therefore, you know, most of people is using Zoom. And the other part is that other than prediction, reinforcement learning, those are sophisticated. Actually, automation is very low-hanging fruits. So we do a lot of automation using programming like UiPath, which is quite simple. Okay, so this is the one that chatbot. So can machine talk to human faster and smarter than human? I would say definitely can now. Okay, with today's technology, right? So you can program the chatbot. You can let the chatbot to understand as many words as you want, and you can actually vectorize it so that the chatbot can respond faster than human, and they don't need to look at word by word, right? So this is the one I've mentioned just now is on these Jeopardy games, that machine is actually better than human, but that was like 10 years back. Okay, so today definitely. So there's also some other textbook that talk about a lot about reinforcement learning, like this 𝗀𝗽𝗂𝘁. And pre-processing of data is very important in AI because garbage in, garbage out. So therefore, we spend quite a lot of time in understanding the data structure, whether the data integrity, etc. So, usually we focus a lot on prediction because that is the difficult part. And automation actually can pick up the knowledge quite easily by looking at YouTube's. And analytics a lot involves statistics and mathematics, which is slightly not as sophisticated as prediction, where you need to go into deep Python programming. So these are some of the important tools that say some of you interested in going to detail. For Python, we actually using TensorFlow, which by Google, which actually acquired Keras, which is for deep learning. And there's some other things like sklearn in a pandas, in a Python that conveniently let us use the library. In a few lines of program, we can actually do a deep learning programming. So again, in terms of language, Python. So nowadays most of the program, whether it's back end or whether it's this AI programming, and whether it's talking to Hadoop, we are also using Python nowadays. So this is the three things that I've mentioned to you just now. The prediction and the reinforcement learning. Now, in the prediction, I probably need to explain to you that actually one is called supervised learning, where you have the label and you know what to predict. And there's also another unsupervised learning where you don't have the label. So you just group the data, which is very useful in things like marketing. In the unsupervised learning, things like association rules is used a lot in Netflix, in Walmart, etc. So it's actually quite, the machine can assist us in a lot of value add things. So now this terminology is just not really a critical one. So a lot of people is using deep learning, machine learning, AI. So the diagram probably can explain, actually everything is AI. So not all AI must be machine learning. Some of them can be just automation. So you're not actually asking the machine to learn something, right? Or some of them can be rule-based. Okay. And then deep learning, the difference between deep learning and machine learning is that we are always looking at many, many layers, and that's called deep learning. Okay. So evolution. Now I just want to explain the last part, more important, is that 2016, Google, the parents alphabet, they actually created this deep mind that created this model called AlphaGo, which beat the champion in 2016 and 17. And then after that, AlphaGo reached a stage that he has nothing else to beat. Then DeepMind actually use another group of people called AlphaZero. So it's machine compete with machine. And actually the AlphaZero, it take 3 months to be better, to beat the AlphaGo. And what they do right is they use this thing called generative adversarial network, which the machine actually do self-learn. So since 2018 proven in AlphaZero, just to let a lot of people say, hey, we need to gather data, and so actually today, right, a lot of time machine actually can generate data and then they can learn themselves. So it's quite amazing today. So just to let you know, like even like let's say NFT drawing, etc., actually can be done by using GAN, GAN. So transfer learning is another part that we actually reached today's stage that we do not really train the model anymore, like what I've mentioned just now, right? ResNet. So ResNet is pre-trained. That means that the ResNet, when you download the weight of the neural network, that means the model, right? Actually, this ResNet already seen many, many photos before, maybe 100 millions of photos, and you can just download the weight. And so we want to train this guy, this model is easier than another model that haven't seen any photo before, right? So this is called transfer learning, which we are in this stage now also. So this is the one just I explained to you on the self-learn, and this is used in AlphaZero. So AlphaZero actually use both reinforcement learning plus this self-learn GAN. So there are a few other things that you probably important other than AI, other technology like blockchain. I'm quite sure many of the recording now move towards blockchain, which is more secured. And with all the security technology in a blockchain, actually you can do better. So other things other than just those I mentioned, that simple one, I think some of you have seen that before. Like myself, I'm using this Hey Google, so Google Assist, and it's very useful, and it's amazing that always surprise me by just $100, about US $100, and it's so smart that he can understand what I'm saying, So sometimes I make mistake, he actually can correct me as well. So I'm quite sure that happened in Apple Siri and other these brand as well, other than Google. So this is one of the very rare, I should say, one of the very few Singapore successfully created a products that sell in the whole world, and most of the hospital is using this. And actually, this is the something that made in Singapore, and is used in most of the hospital. So it's to look at the eyes disease. So as I mentioned, when you look at images at a micro level, right, you need machine can vision perform better than human. Cardio is another aspect. If you look at the accuracy, it's almost double, close to double, right? So in cardio, all the micro project human can't detect. So our eyes, as I say, from machine perspective, we only can see at most 3 to 4 layers, but the programming is like 150 layers, right? So some of the programming on 300 layers. So in finance, we do a lot of financial analysis, financial modeling, simulation, forecasting, fraud detection, cybersecurity, threat detection, etc. So we do that a lot. So this is fraud and risk. So in risk management, we also do pricing to avoid arbitrage, etc. So actually Python can do most of the things that I've just mentioned to you. And this is the one that, okay, so fraud detection. Now, actually fraud detection, human, again, we have problem doing that because usually fraud means there's an intention. So every single evidence you have, it doesn't look like, it's not like error, right? One single event, oh, you know, it's an error. So this one, I would say that it is very complicated and people are not easy to detect because there's a lot of data scattered and you have to combine all of them. And actually we rely a lot on this machine to detect fraud, including Dell have came up with a system on fraud detection as well. Risk modeling, liquidity planning, etc. So this OCBC, so this old slide, but I still keep it because actually OCBC 2018, they actually one of the bank, local bank in Singapore, they actually created this AI unit. But today, all banks have AI. So I think only those banks that don't have AI probably can go to news today in Singapore. So teachers, librarians, security guard, you know, in Singapore, so you actually can buy the machine. So even our course now, we are actually all we are actually quite ready for online. So of course with some assist on some machine or some software that can actually assist us in teaching student. So learning management system, etc. Now, scanning resume, screening resume is very fast. As I say, you know, machine no need to read on every single English words. So they actually look at the whole statement itself, 0.1 second, even the statement is 30 words, 40 words. So actually the is up to 77 words per sentence, right? For the machine to understand. And that would take only 0.1 second. Imagine 77 words in 0.1 second. So human cannot be better, right? Not so fast. Economics, this is what just recently only. So they make use of machine learning. And in Singapore, we have a lot of grant from government and pushing for AI. And since we are ready, so it's a matter of how fast we can do it. So according to Gartner's report, we actually can automate about 51% of the things that we are doing, and that is in 2019. Today, maybe more, maybe 53, 54. But the sad part is that not necessarily sad, but that we only achieve 20% of automation in Singapore. And this Korea, which is the top in the world, is only 28%. So there's a lot of room. The gap is now to be filled by potentially people like you all. Okay, so that I'm quite sure it does that. Now, if you look at brain today, we have about 200 billion neurons, which today we want to program a model with 200 billion is actually no issue at all. But the problem is you have to have a lot of this data in order to do that. But in order to have so many data to do that, right, what you can do is that you can use the pre-trained model. You can't be getting so much data, right? With 200 billion neurons, you probably need many trillion photos. For example, if it's images, right? So if it's data, you need a lot, right? But just to let you know that pre-trained model is the solution. So we must look for a model that has already been trained before. So this is the deep learning, big data, and of course, we also use distributed computation because there's a lot of computation power needed. So in Python, we just call partition, right? You can partition to 10, 20, 30, then using Spark. So this is the big data. It can be because of volume, velocity, or variety. Okay, these three things. So AI models now, usually we concentrate on two models for structured data. Structured data is like those Excel, you have rows and columns, and we call it regression and decision tree. And for unstructured data, which means speech, text, images, we are actually using neural network. So basically these two. So this is the one generative adversarial network. Actually, so nowadays we do a lot of this gun thing that actually can generate. So recently, I also trying to use GAN to generate some NFT images, drawing, arts, etc. So reinforcement learning, as I mentioned, that this is the one that is hot because what we want is the outcome and not the prediction, right? Because eventually we need to make decision. So reinforcement learning is actually one step ahead of that. And these are some of the, in AI, a lot of times we actually can't predict so accurately, but we at least know that what actually can contribute to that particular event. Say, for example, we want to know whether COVID or no COVID, right? So we want to know what is the important features that can determine, fever, cough, or etc. Okay? So this is my libraries. This is some Python that if some of you wanted to take the Python exam, there's a PSET, PCAP, for those programmer to do it. Okay. And software we are using most of the time we are using this Anaconda, which is actually is a package that you have all the programs inside. As an Anaconda means a big snake, right? So actually have everything here, bigger than Python, right? Okay, so this is the R program. This is the Python program. And non-coding tools we use a lot. So in NTU, we teach SAS, we teach VCA, we teach SPSS, and because conveniently used by, it's very easy to train, and maybe like 2-3 classes, student can start to actually use it for AI purposes. So these are all the ready libraries and packages that you can actually just download, and you do not really need to write the code from scratch. And as I say, deep learning programming sometimes only need 20 lines of codes. So this is structured and unstructured data. So I just want to let you know unstructured data is now growing very fast. And that is talking about speech, text, images, etc., video, So I always use this to explain why images the most important, because we depend on eyes 75%. Okay. So this is reinforcement learning, which is more important than prediction because it goes beyond that. So it's actually an action. So if the action is correct, the system, the supervised component will give him some reward. If it's wrong, then punish him, So these are some technical things that we look at on the label column. Okay, and these are some of the metrics that we use to measure, okay, accuracy, etc. And this is also another measurement. We just call it metrics now. So this is coding. So for those categorical input, we need to use these dummy variables to do it. It's more technical, yeah. So in machine, we usually have overfitting issue because machine try to learn. So very hardworking, right? And we just tell the machine, hey, cool down a bit, relax a bit, okay? So we add a lot of randomness, add a lot of dropout, etc., for the machine to not to overlearn from the train set, but to perform well in a test set. So this is some of the mechanism we do. So actually, this is also part of the more technical thing that we actually split the train to train and test so that the machine can be smarter during the training. So this is some data cleaning we do, that we do not want to make sure that the garbage, if a wrong data coming in, the machine will learn the wrong thing, right? So we have to remove outlier. We have to oversample the minority or undersample the majority to make sure that the machine can learn in the more evenly, okay, more balanced type. So again, this is a data wrangling that we actually put in. If it's a missing data, we have to guess something and then put it in. And this thing is called impute. Okay, so impute in time series. And most of the machine are eager learner. We seldom go to lazy learner. Okay, but there is lazy learner model like KNN, and actually Google is using that also. Okay, because Google want it to be fast. And prescriptive and descriptive. So usually we are in descriptive for statistics. So prescriptive means that predictive means that we predict something, right? So prescriptive means that beyond prediction, that means that the model is already matured. So there's these three things. But most of the time we are in predictive now. So these are some of the mechanisms we use feature selection. These are more technical ways of doing the feature selection. So at the end, we have to present the results, and we do a lot of this presentation using Power BI or Tableau to show at the end, it actually looks from graphical perspective, actually it's better than PowerPoint and Excel. So anyway, Power BI is owned by Microsoft as well. So it's an extension of Excel. So we now I'm focusing more on Power BI. Okay, yep. So that's all for my presentation. I hope I give you some overview of what is AI, and it is coming, and I'm quite sure every one of you are aware of that. And every time we hear news, almost every week, every month, there's a lot of news saying that, hey, machine is doing that, hey, machine is doing that, right? So it's actually happening. So most of my students is quite amazed after attending 13 classes. They say, oh my goodness, machine really can do that already. So it is what it is. Okay, so I wait for question if there is any.
Thank you so much, Dr. TT. That was a wonderful session. I think I learned myself so much about, while I don't come from a technical background as such, but understanding how AI can be used with businesses is quite an interesting area. There are a couple of questions that have come in, and I want to take a moment to ask the audience also to please keep posting your questions for Professor TT in the Q&A box at the bottom. We'll try and take as many questions as we can. So the first one, Dr. TT, that has come in is from Pratik, who says, whenever we think about AI, we always relate to software engineers, but someone coming from a commerce or a business background, what are the prospects in AI fields for students coming from accounting, finance, or commerce backgrounds?
Yeah, this is excellent question. So this is, I think, yes, Pratik, you are actually looking at the correct angle. Now, just to let you know that today, right, just give you some example, to be a medical doctor in Singapore, the year 2 student had to study programming and AI. And there are some courses like accountant need nowadays they need to study computer programming as well. And recently, business valuer. So we are talking about whether to become to get you the business CBA, chartered valuer, right? You need to pass the programming test also. So just to let you know, my programming class, right? Especially these MSBA, Master of Science in Business Analytics, where I'm myself and Kenny is managing this program. Half of our students, the bachelor degree is totally not programming, but they come to MSBA, they take all the 12 subjects, all the 12 subjects are programming. So, and after that, they learn, and they may want to become a programmer or may not. But I would say that you need to. So I would say that if you know it, if you know how to apply on the domain, like accounting domain or finance domain, I would say that you definitely have the upper hand. And this just want to let you know that recently I also talked to a big MNC, and then the CFO, we are just talking about how can we help them, The CFO, before we start discussion, she tell us that, oh, I do my own Python programming. I said, you're CFO, for MNC, I said, yeah, I do all by myself. So Python programming, I use regression model to analyze data. So you can imagine that. And I hope I answer your question, Pratik. And,
yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the second question is,
I'll come to that, but just to summarize on Pratik's question, and for everyone else listening in as well, I think what Professor TT has very well articulated, you don't really need to come from a technical background to be able to study this program or similar programs when you're trying to build a career in AI. It is probably a part of the future that we all foresee some level of this technology, of these technologies to be used in the workforce. So I think, this is a great example for everybody from a non-technical background listening in as well. You don't really need to have that specific skill set in advance. It's something you can learn and grow with, as Professor TT mentioned in the program too. Prof, the next question comes in from 𝗀𝗽𝗲𝗿 who says she's a professional with 13 years of experience in service management and is probably considering a career in AI. What's the most suitable opportunity she must look at?
Okay. So yeah, I think so. I think it's if you wanted to look at a career opportunity, right? Let's say you want to AI programmer, right? If you just want, so I would say that things like, for example, certification like Python exam, etc., or you can attend a master's program in some related in programming like MSBA. You know, we started with 6 programming class and 6 non-programming class. Now 12 programming classes. Okay, and I would say that I would say it'll be good. And you may not want to become a AI programmer, but you can be at least data analyst or data scientist as well. You know, so so I would say that this is actually now the in thing lah. Definitely in Singapore is definitely very hot. And I hope that answer your question. So
so I think there are several, Lakshmi, there's several opportunities in the domain. It's sector agnostic to a large level, and a program like this will definitely help you in building that diversity and skill going forward, even after this level of experience that you have. Prof, the next question comes from Abhishek. He's asking if you've come across a IoT blockchain technology called Helium, and what do you think about it in its future?
I never heard about Helium, but I use a lot of blockchain. We created some blockchain as well. So the blockchain I use is MetaMask by Ethereum. So actually you can do transaction there easily. You know, so it's a blockchain platform, but it's quite costly. The transaction cost is like 10%, you know. So we actually created our own blockchain also. Definitely, I would say blockchain, the future of recording any transaction, I think it will be blockchain. So if you are doing blockchain, yes, definitely, that's the future.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. There are a quick thing for all the participants. Please keep posting your questions in the Q&A chat bar at the bottom of your screen. We'll try and take as many as we can at this stage. We're going to have, we'll do a few more questions, and we're going to have Regine talk to us about the programs that NTU offers. So if you have any questions about that too, please keep posting them, and we'll try and take them as we go along this session. Professor, the next question comes from Ayush, who says, how can you use AI effectively in medical sciences?
Yeah, well, I think that definitely now medical sciences, for example, right, as I mentioned, like cardiology, eye detection, and I think that definitely we need machine, and especially with sometimes with the remote area, in a remote area, if you don't use machine, it's going to be a little bit tough. So I would say that in future we're probably going to see many many machine become our doctor. So actually we are talking to machine in future. So I think it's definitely I definitely, especially in the image side, when human cannot look at image so accurate and so precise, so machine can actually assist us in that. Definitely.
Wonderful.
I hope I answered your question. Yep.
Yeah, that was great, Professor TT. The next question comes from Rahul, who says, can we use AI in medical health as a domain? And what will be the potential pros and cons?
Yeah, this one I don't have the experience yet, but I think now maybe not so easy because mental health is very sophisticated thing. So I seldom heard about this yet, but I think soon to be this domain, but maybe not now yet. Now we are more on physical health. So I think that's a good. That's definitely machine eventually have to do that as well. So, but this is a good starting point. Maybe there is, but maybe not so popular yet. Okay, but it's definitely will up and coming. Definitely. Yeah.
Wonderful. And Rahul, this may well be an opportunity for a new company to broom up from here once you pursue a program and learn the skill set.
Yeah. Yes.
it's definitely an opportunity.
Yeah, yes.
We'll take a couple of more questions. There are several more
Sure.
coming in, and thank you for the audience to be so engaged and keep posting your questions. We'll keep taking more for Dr. TT and Regine in due time as well. I'll take one or two more questions, Dr. TT, and then we'll go to Regine and come back to you for more questions if that's okay.
Sure.
There's a question by Sahil who says he's a chartered accountant and wants to learn about blockchain accounting. What would be the right kind of programs that you could recommend to them?
Okay, very good. Now, just to let you know that in MSBA, we have this blockchain class. And I'm quite sure that these electives, definitely there is a blockchain. And just to also let you know that actually blockchain adopt this from accounting. So accounting is using the ledger, which is blockchain is doing that. And we actually, all our P&L is we actually make it a block, and we just use retained earning to go to the next year, right? So we actually we can't go back to change the P&L, and we just need to reverse the ledger out. So the blockchain technology actually is quite simple. It's similar to accounting, just that we add things like validation, we add things like distributed, etc. So I would say definitely the most of the I think accounting courses should have blockchain, probably not core module, but at least as electives, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, blockchain is very important. I mean, in NTU we have a lot of blockchain courses in our PG program, post master's program.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. TT, for that. There are questions around placements, around scholarships. And at that point, I'd like to keep requesting the audience to keep posting their questions. We'll move over to Regine for the next 5 to 10 minutes, who will talk to us about the school. And this will probably also answer some of these questions, and then we'll come back, Dr. TT, if that's okay, with more questions for you as well. Wonderful. Regine, over to you. She's going to talk to us about Nanyang Business School's specialized master's programs on offer. Regine, handing the stage to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Paras, and thank you, Dr. Teoh, for your very engaging masterclass. I'm sure all of you here, have a very good overview of how AI is, is integrating into every part of our lives now. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm Regine from the Nanyang Business School at the NTU Singapore. So I oversee the specialized master's program over at the Nanyang Business School. So please allow me to share very briefly with you what are the specialized master's program that we offer. Okay, so I hope you guys are able to see my screen right now. Okay, so many of you here tonight are thinking about, whether you want to, pursue a master's program. And if you're thinking about pursuing a master's program, there's so many programs out there. How do you choose which one, should you go for? And I see these are some of the questions that were coming in as well. So let me help you to narrow down your choices when you're selecting, which master's program to go for. Okay, the first one, I think before we narrow down to the choice of program, let's look at the location. Should you stay in your home country to do your master's program, or should you think about going overseas? And overseas, there are so many countries as well. Do you go to Asia? Do you go to the US? Do you go to the Europe? Yeah, so location is a very important factor. Do you want to be further away, or do you want to be close to home? And what about where you want to develop your career after your graduation? A lot of questions to think about. And when you want to do a program, should you do it in like a master's program, or is it okay to take some online courses on Coursera? Which one should you choose? There are so many choices these days, right? And then of course, after that, you narrow down the choice of program. Should you do a more general program like MBA program, or should you do a specialized master's program? And if it's a specialized master program, which one, which discipline should I go for? Okay, so let me help you with this today. Okay, using these 3 factors. So the first one, of course, is Singapore. It's the location. So I think I hope that after today, you can consider Singapore as seriously as one of your studies destination for your master's program. Singapore is located in the heart of Asia. And I think we all agree that Asia is the fastest economic growing region in the world. And I think being our ideal location, we are able to tap into the wider Asia Pacific network growth very well. Although, the pandemic has, kind of like, put a pause on a lot of growth in the region. But I think Singapore is on track. Our fundamentals are strong. We are able to write this out. So I think Singapore is a very ideal location, especially if you are thinking of, staying in Asia for your career after that. And Singapore, of course, is a well-known global business hub. We are a leading financial center. We are also the Asia's most competitive nation with the best investment potential. And of course, even in 2019, before the pandemic, World Economic Forum actually, in the report, Singapore has actually overtaken the US for the first time to be the most competitive nation in the world. And, there are many MNCs that set up their regional headquarters in Singapore. And what they need is a very qualified workforce to work in their MNCs, in the regional HQ. And this is where our graduates comes into play, where they're able to, work for these organizations. And I think about Singapore, I think what is unique about Singapore is its dynamic and multicultural, multiracial society. I think we are a unique blend of the East and West, and I think it makes us probably one of the most culturally diverse, country in Asia, and definitely one of the world's most livable city. So I think these are some of the factors that you want to think about when you're thinking about where to study, where do you want to work after that. Yeah, and of course, it's also important to have leisure, to have fun in Singapore. So although Singapore may be very small compared to most countries in the world, but I think the small size has become our advantage, especially, in terms of a pandemic, we're much able to better control, able to do a lot of things in this small country. So I think, it's not really a disadvantage being small, but it has become our advantage to be more agile, in especially now. And of course, there's a lot of fun things in Singapore as well. Like, I'm not sure how many of you have been to Singapore. So if you're familiar with this, this, I don't know, a ship-like structure, here is actually the Marina Bay Sands. And on top of it is actually the world's largest rooftop infinity pool. So there's lots of fun thing in Singapore. Yeah, and of course, if you're a foodie nation like Singapore, most Singaporeans, we definitely have one of the most diverse food culture around. Okay, so right now I'll share more about NTU Singapore as well as the Nanyang Business School. So the second point to consider is about where to study the university itself. So, at NTU, we established in 1991. We are a full-fledged university, so we have all the different colleges of engineering, colleges of business, medicine, sciences, etc. So we are a full-fledged university. So we are also a very research-intensive university as well, and we are highly ranked in Asia and around the world. So, I think if you hear from the name itself, Nanyang Technological University, you would know that technology is really part of the DNA of NTU. We are very well known for our expertise in technology, innovation, and research. So so how do we fare in the rankings? Of course, ranking is not everything, but I think it gives an indication of how progressive is the university. So in the latest QS World University ranking, so we are placed 12 in the world. So among all the great universities in the world, we're number 12. I mean, that is something that I think we are very privileged to be sharing as a very young university. So as you can see here, the second and the third ranking are all the young university by QS or Times Higher Education. So for both ranking, we are ranked first as the best young university. And in fact, for QS, top 50 university under the age of 50, we have been ranked number 1 since 2014. So I think as a university, NTU is definitely very recognized globally. Yeah. So how about Nanyang Business School? How do we fare? So Nanyang Business School, we are one of Asia's leading university. And I think we are also renowned for being research-oriented and providing interdisciplinary education and industry-relevant education. So interdisciplinary is something that NBS places a lot of emphasis on. And of course, we industry-relevant because we want to prepare our graduates for the workplace. So our brand name, the Nanyang Business School, alongside with NTU Singapore, is very well recognized by companies globally. And of course, if you look at global, accreditation, we are both accredited by AACSB and AQUAS. So they are the, the leading business school accreditation, both in the US as well as in Europe. So of course, what makes the business school a truly great place is, of course, our faculty members. So we have many distinguished faculty who are expert in their own field, like Professor Sun Ang here. She actually pioneered cultural intelligence. So I'm sure you all have heard of IQ, EQ. So she pioneered CQ, cultural intelligence. And of course, we have many other faculty like Professor Vijay Sethi. He was actually, voted the world best business professor in EIC back a few years ago. So you can see these are the faculty who'll be teaching you in the program. And I think what is even more unique about Nanyang Business School is that we are a premier business school within a leading technological university. So we are really the nexus of innovation, research, and business and education. And I think these three words, innovate, lead, transform, really encapsulate the essence of a Nanyang Business School education, that we want to equip our graduates so that they're able to innovate, lead, and transform wherever they go. Okay, so let me dive straight into the specialized master's program that we offer. So we offer 4 of them, the Masters of Science in Accountancy, Business Analytics, Financial Engineering, and Marketing Science. So I'll just very quickly dive into what is unique about MBS and our programs. Yeah. So I think Nanyang Business School, our programs have strong focus on innovation and technology. So whether you are thinking of accountancy or business analytics, they all have a strong focus in innovation and technology, which we are able to draw on NTU renowned strength in the STEM side. And for our program, we have this, our duration, the program duration is flexible, because we have this optional internship module at the end of the coursework. So you can actually tailor the length of your program based on your own needs. And of course, like I mentioned, industry relevant and real-world applications are very important to us, because we want to, like I mentioned, our students are going out to the workplace. They need to be able to apply what they have learned into the workplace. And in many of our programs, you can see the opportunity to work on real-life organization, on company cases, etc. I'll share more in details later. Yeah, and of course, in Nanyang Business School, we also have a dedicated careers development office. So in most schools, you have one unified one. So at NTU, we have 3 actually. So there's the NTU level careers office. In Nanyang Business School itself, we have the undergraduate careers office. And at the graduate studies program itself, we have a dedicated careers office just for a master's student in Nanyang Business School. So they're really able to provide very high touch service to each and every master student. So I think that's how differentiated our program is. Yeah. So very quickly, just each of the program, what are key highlights, and you can read more on our website. So actually, it's fun fact for you guys. Nanyang Business School actually started as a school of accountancy. So you can see how much legacy the accounting has within the Nanyang Business School. So we are definitely Singapore's first and most established accountancy school in Singapore and Asia. And in our program, like I mentioned, we have a lot of focus on innovation and tech. So in our curriculum, there's modules on like forensic accounting, data analytics, machine learning, and there's even a new specialization in data analytics for accounting. So you can see that there's a lot of focus in this area to prepare our students for the future. And of course, highly industry relevant is really is a hallmark of all our programs, I believe. Some of our modules are actually co-taught with domain experts from the Big 4 accounting firms. So you can be sure that wherever you learn, they're relevant to the real world. How about our business analytics program? I think I don't have to say more. Prof. TT has already mentioned a lot about how AI and all that are in every sectors, in every industry. So, and he has mentioned a lot about all the key emerging topics and machine learning, blockchains, and AI. So all these are all covered in our curriculum. It's very future focused. Of course, highly industry relevant. So in our business analytics program, in addition to the internship module at the end of the program, we actually have incorporated into the part of the curriculum is this data practicum module. So which means that in the third trimester of the program, students can actually choose to go on an internship while you're studying full-time to intern with a company in Singapore, working with projects for the company and for the program as well. So most of our students, I think 90% of our students actually choose to go on this data practicum. The other 10% can choose to do other students. If you do not want to do an internship of your choice, you can actually work on a research project with our faculty members. So a majority of our students will go for the internship. And because we have, such close relationship with industry partners, like Prof. TT, he will talk to industry partners about the needs and all that. They allow us to use their real world data in the course. So our students actually work with real life data on a number of, in many of their modules, in fact. Yes. So like I mentioned, interdisciplinary is very important to Nanyang Business School because, business doesn't exist in silos. So we believe a lot in, cross-disciplinary collaborations. So in fact, we have faculty members from our School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences and School of Computer Engineering teaching our program alongside with the business school faculty members. And financial engineering master's program is easily one of the most established, I think, specialized master's program offered at the Nanyang Business School. With a history of over 20 years, this program is well known for its regal and its comprehensive curriculum. So most programs, you study about 12 to 15 modules in your one-year program. But for a financial engineering program, they actually cover 24 modules. So you can imagine how much breadth there is in this program. And of course, like I mentioned, collaborations within other colleges in Singapore, within NTU. So our faculty members, some of them are actually from the School of Physical and Mathematical Sciences as well. And of course, for our financial engineering students, we actually have exclusive speaker series where industry experts are invited to have a closed-door dialogue session with our students so that they're able to get the industry insights as well as networking opportunity with these people. And also we have a collaboration with Carnegie Mellon University in the US, so students can opt to go for a 7-week mini-term at the end of the program with Carnegie Mellon. They also have the option to complete the entire program in NTU as well, doing, not going to CMU as well. So entirely up to our students to customize their learning plans. So, okay, finally, the marketing science program. So I think, the curriculum is very holistic as well. So it has 3 areas of focus in marketing, consumer insights, and marketing technology. So these 3 areas underpins the curriculum of the marketing science program. And I think one of the modules that we offer are really very interesting and very forward thinking. So we have modules like AR, VR, AI, robotics, neuroscience, and marketing, ethnography. So these are the modules that you don't really see in many of the marketing programs out there, but we are offering it to our students so that they are able to, experience what is the future. Yes. And of course, like I mentioned, we prepare our students for the workplace. So it's very practice oriented. We have companies projects that our students are able to work with real life organizations, our industry partners. There are of course also field visits for our students as well. So this is the program structure. So if so all international students on a student visa must complete the program on a full-time basis unless you have other visa to stay in Singapore. Otherwise, you have to complete full-time, and you can do it in 1 year, which through 3 trimesters. There are also another way that if you want to extend your program through the internship module, which I've mentioned earlier, you can do that. So you take 1.5 years to complete. So our courses officially starts in August. That's the start of first trimesters, and it will last 3 trimesters. But we actually encourage our students to come around mid to end July, because that's where we have orientation and some prep courses for some of our programs. For example, for the business analytics program, we actually have like a Python boot camp before the start of the program, and in trimester 1 as well. So the students who are not from technical background, you know, that you're able to get your programming up to speed before the start of the program. And then for some programs like our business analytics program and as well as the accountancy program, we actually have overseas exchange programs as well. So you can do it at the end of after your coursework. So our admissions requirements. So just very quickly, I'll run through is a bachelor's degree. So it can be from any discipline except for financial engineering, because of the number of quant courses inside. We do need students to be from a quant background. So no work experience is required. So you can see that the profile of our students in the specialized master's program, huge majority of them are actually fresh graduates. So which means that they actually comes from undergraduate program, they graduate, and then they go straight into our program, our MSc's program. So no work experience is required. We do have students with work experience as well, but they're usually less than 5 years of work experience. So if you have more experience, so you may want to consider an MBA program as well. So really depending on individual needs. Okay, so GMAT GRE score is compulsory for all the program except for the marketing science program. And TOEFL IELTS only if your degree is not taught in English language. So I believe if most of you are, if not all of you here are from India, or you study in an Indian university, university in India. So I think it's fully taught in English, so you don't need to actually have TOEFL or IELTS. So if you want to learn more about our programs, you can actually type this URL, or you can scan this QR code on the screen. Yeah, so I won't go into more details. All the information can be found online on our website. So this is just a very quick overview of the entire 4 programs that I have introduced: the admissions requirement, the format, the duration, then our intake. Our next intake is all in July. So for the 28%, I think, of you who mentioned that you want to start your program this year, well, it is very soon. So all our programs are still available for application, except for financial engineering. You only have 8 more days to submit your applications. But for all the other programs, if you're very keen to start this year, you have until end of March to submit your online applications. So these are the tuition fees over here. I kind of did a rough conversion to the US dollars, so you have a better idea. And then you need to. So the fees, I have not added in our GST, which is 7% currently. So you have to add that in for the final tuition fee. So I think a lot of you will be asking, so what do you look for in your applicant? So how do I get into, Nanyang Business School Master's Program? So let's go through them. So of course, academic profile is something that we do look at. So academic profile, meaning like we look at, the university that you graduated from, the major that you graduated from, especially for some programs, like I mentioned, like financial engineering, because we do need students who have a strong quant background. We will really look at your major, your transcript, what kind of quant courses have you taken. So this is academic profile, because it's not that's the only thing that we look at. We also look at what other non-academic achievements that you have. Like, are you very active in your extracurriculums? Are you a student leader? Or if you have work experience, how are you progressing in your career? So these are the things that we actually look at. And of course, like I mentioned, most of our students do not have work experience, but most of them comes with a lot of internship experience as well. So if you are fresh graduates, internship is something that we look at. Like, what are companies that you intern with? What are some of the projects that you have done during your internships? And the duration of your internship. So these are some of the things that we look at as well, if you do not have any work experience. And of course, leadership qualities is something that we will also be looking out for. For example, you are a leader and you help your you help to bring your group to case competitions. You are the president of the student union group. These are some of the things that we look at. Of course, yeah. And of course, if you're working, then of course we look at some of the leadership position that you may have held, like you're a little section lead, for example. So these are some of the things that we look at. And of course, what do you bring to the classroom? The ability to contribute. So each applicant is unique, actually. So you bring with yourself a unique thing to the classroom, to the cohort. So there's no really like an ideal perfect candidate that we're looking at, because like I mentioned, all of you are unique. You all have your own unique qualities that you bring to the classroom. This is what we want to see. We want to see a very diverse group in our programs. So our admissions is a rolling process, which means that when a full application is submitted together with all your supporting documents, our admissions team will actually process that. And if you're shortlisted, we will be inviting you for admissions interview. And of course, after that, you get an admission outcome. And of course, we do hope that you accept the offer. So for those of you who wants to, especially those of you who are interested in this year intake, this is the URL to apply. Or you can actually scan this QR as well over here. Okay. So I think some of you are interested in what are some of the scholarships that we offer. So we do offer ASEAN Development Scholarship. So this is only for members. If you're a citizens of the ASEAN member country. I'm not sure how many of you are actually listening here, but I just thought I'll just put it in here. And of course, we have our merit-based scholarship, which is open to everybody. So it's a merit-based partial scholarship that we offer, that we award for all our programs. So just like I mentioned about our careers office being very dedicated to our master's program. So you can see that for each program, there will be a dedicated program lead who has really deep understanding of the industry needs, and as well as what are the employers looking for. And they are the ones who network with prospective employers as well. So we are also one of the very few schools that actually provides a one-to-one career counseling, career coaches to each and every of our master students. So this is how high touch our career services is. And of course, in addition to all that, there's a whole suite of workshops that they organize throughout the entire 1 year with us, from resume writing to professional etiquette to image management, networking, interviews preparation, a lot. So our careers office colleagues really take the effort to prepare our students before we get in the prospective companies to come in for a careers day, to make sure our students are prepared when they meet all these employers. And I think some of you may be curious about what is the employment results of our graduates. So this is something that just came in, is from our preliminary class of 21 career employment insights. So I'm happy to say that across all these 4 specialized master's programs, 96% of our students actually secure full-time employment within 3 months from graduation. So I know some of you may be wondering, what is the breakdown between those staying in Singapore and overseas? So I don't have the breakdown, to be very honest. I would say that I think a majority of our students actually went back to their home country for their career. It's because they want to be closer to home because of pandemic and all. Most of them wants to be closer to their family, and also they find that the careers that's offered in their home country a little bit more aligned to their long-term career goals. So they go back to their home country. So we do have those who find jobs in Singapore as well. So not everybody wants to stay in Singapore. So they are a mixed group. And these are some of the employers who hired our graduates. You can see they range from a lot of different kind of companies. Big Four, definitely, because they hire many of our accountancy graduates, as well as business analytics graduates and all that. We also have a number of financial institutions, as well as, I think, one of the very big recruiters for a lot of our programs are all the e-commerce and the tech company like Shopee, Tencent, Alibaba, and all that. They hired quite a lot of students from across all our different programs, from marketing to business analytics, etc. And of course, a lot of fintech companies as well. They do hire our financial engineering grads as well. So it's really a wide range of companies recruiting our graduates. Okay. Of course, as a graduate of Nanyang Business School, you are not just, your cohort class of 2022, 2023, but you're actually a member of a very big alumni network as well. So in Nanyang Business School alone, we are close to 50,000 alumni in close to 90 countries. And as an NTU alumni, more than 200,000 alumni, close to 160 countries. It's a very huge network that you are going to be a member of when you graduate. So before I end off today's presentation, just a short video of from our students.
I chose Master of Science in Accountancy for its robust curriculum and its strong reputation in the accounting field. My undergraduate major was in engineering, and it made me realize that there's much more to learn beyond tech. I want to build on my existing skills and learn new business skill sets to be future-ready and analytical savvy accountant.
I chose a Master of Science in Business Analytics program due to its curriculum and emphasis on industry-relevant exposure. Singapore really ticked off many of the checkboxes for me. Part of it is because of the presence of multinational corporations for both the tech and financial sectors. And in addition, Singapore is also very well known for being one of the safest cities in the world and for its political stability.
I chose the Master of Science in Marketing Science because of the forward-thinking curriculum, which has a strong focus on innovation and technology, where I get to learn courses like AR, VR, AI, and robotics in marketing. I also see Singapore as a culturally diverse and cosmopolitan city, which is important to me as a marketer. I want to be more adaptable, empathetic, and resilient by challenging myself out of my comfort zone and encounter cultures so unlike my own to become a true global marketer.
I chose Master of Science in Financial Engineering because it adopts an interdisciplinary approach and combines two of my greatest interests, finance and math. I'm eager to expand my knowledge in the financial industry and implement solutions in areas such as risk management, product structuring, quantitative trading, research, and financial information technology. I chose to study in Singapore because it's one of the most dynamic global financial centers in the world. I believe it will be an ideal starting point to springboard my financial career.
Selamat siang, my name is Celia from Indonesia.
Hello, I'm Mike from Canada.
Hola, mi nombre es Keri y vengo de Lima, Perú.
Good day, mate. My name's 𝗀𝗽𝗲𝗏.
We chose Nanyang Business School's Specialized Master's Program as our first choice.
Sorry. Okay, how'd I go? Okay, so I've come to the end of my presentation, and be happy to take on any questions that you have. And before I go to that, okay, I just wanted to actually flash our social media here on screen. So if you're interested to learn more about programs, to join our future events, you can actually follow us on our social media. Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you, Regine, for that session. I think there were quite a few questions that students had, which hopefully are answered here as well. We have a few more. Dr. TT had unfortunately needed to leave. So for all the attendees, he sends his apologies. He had another appointment to be at. You can, we're here to still take questions with Regine, and we'll try and answer as many as we can over the next 5 to 10 minutes. With that, Regine, thank you firstly for the presentation. There are a few questions that have come in, which I want to try and take now. For students attending, please keep posting your questions in the Q&A tab. We have a few more minutes, so we'll try and take some more through this period. Regine, first question comes from Nishant. He asked us a while ago. He says he's into banking and the housing finance industry, and has about 5 years of experience, which sort of is about the limit that you mentioned, earlier in your deck. Would the placement team provide assistance after course completion in his case?
Oh, definitely. So each student actually have access to our career support, to our career, in short, we call it the GSCDO office, Graduate Study Career Development Office. It's a mouthful, So yeah, so they're here to support each and every student. So we don't really call it like a placement service because, well, we're not really like a headhunting company where we place you with a job, but they're here to support you, every step of the way, from career coaching to identify your career goals, what are options, what are objectives, how do you refine your goals and things like that. They are there to help you every step of the way. Of course, they have a lot of events that they hold that you are most welcome to join. We strongly encourage students to join. So they also have their own like a job portal. They call it the name just escaped me for a moment. Yeah, so they do have that. They post like internship opportunities. They post job opportunities on this portal, so students are encouraged to apply to all this. So definitely there is a career support for our students, but we can't really like help them to put that in a job, but they'll be holding your hands doing it with you.
Perfect. I'm going to take a quick minute at this point. We are due to run our second poll. My apologies for the delay in that. For all the participants, we'd love for you to participate in this. It should be up on your screen very shortly. Now that you've heard about all the programs available at NTU, if you can make a quick choice, which program appeals to you most for your master's study? Is it the MSc in accountancy? Is it the MSc in business analytics? Is it the MSc in financial engineering? Or is it the MSc in marketing science? It's a quick poll. It'll help us here at SEED and to NTU understand a bit more about your interest. Which of these programs appeal to you most? Is it the MSc in accountancy, the one in business analytics, the one in financial engineering, or in marketing sciences? We're going to keep the poll on for another 15 seconds. It's a quick pick. Hopefully the session has given you a lot of information about each of those programs. And you would have the opportunity to interact with alumni in due time as well. On your screen, you should see a poll pop up which says which program offered by NTU appeals the most to you. Is it the MSc in accountancy, the one in business analytics, the one in financial engineering, or the one in marketing sciences? We'll close the poll now. Let's see what kind of response or the interest people have. Great, about 41% of people are interested in the MSc in business analytics, about 24 in financial engineering, 22 in marketing sciences, and close to about 15% in the MSc in accountancy. Wonderful, so a good spread. Hopefully you all learned about the different programs on offer. We'll take a couple of more questions here, Regine, for students. Keep posting your questions. We'll try and take a few more as we go on. There's a question by Ayush, Regine, who says he's currently pursuing his bachelor's degree in artificial intelligence and data science. He wanted to know if there are any opportunity at NTU for a master's in AI and what's the process. I mean, I believe instead of a specific master's in AI, if you want to talk about, where someone with his background would be most suited.
Well, okay, so if I think there is a master's in AI offered by NTU, but actually I'm just from the business school, so our admissions is quite followed by the college. So the master's in AI, I think, is by the College of Engineering, so I don't really have any information about the admissions process. It's best to check the website. But if you're interested to know about business analytics, I'm happy to help you. So our application process is very simple. It's just all online. So you just have to go to our website and click on the apply now. You'll be brought to an online application portal. So you just need to complete all the information over there and upload all your supporting documents. So you don't have to actually send us any hard hard copies of your supporting documents, or even for the application stage, you don't have to, send us the official GMAT or GRE test score. You can upload your score to the online application, and that's good enough for us for the application stage. So it's very simple. Even for recommendations, you just need to put in the contact details of your recommenders, and then they will actually get an email sent to your recommenders to complete an online form. Everything is online these days. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Regine. There's a question by Harini who says, can she switch her career from electronics and communication engineering to data analytics with zero previous programming knowledge?
Oh, I think that's an excellent question. I believe Prof. TT has kind of answered that previously. So I think he mentioned about 50% of our students actually came from a business background. And I think, in fact, I remember our first batch of students, I have students whose undergrad major was Russian language, and she graduated. She has zero programming background. So which is why we have that programming bootcamp at the beginning, actually not at the beginning, before the start of the program, so that our students with limited technology or programming background can actually, very, very quickly and very intensively, I would say, get up to speed, so that, when you're in the program, you're able to understand, the lectures and all that, able to work on your assignments. And of course, if you have zero programming background, the learning curve is much steeper for you. But I think if you want to put in the effort, if you want to put in the time, I think you can do it, because I've seen many students who have done it. So I believe it's a matter of mind over matters, is it? No. Yeah.
Commitment in the game. No, absolutely.
Exactly. But of course, it's good that you know that you're enrolled in the program. Before the start of the program, take on some Coursera courses and anything, just to get familiarized with the language and all that. I think that will really help as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. There's another question by Kanish in the chat box. He says, what are some of the subjects in the business analytics program, if you can very briefly mention them?
Okay, that's a very good question. Let me quickly Google and then pull up the website. So okay, of course there are things like blockchain in the program. That's for sure. Let me just quickly pull out. You have asked me a very tough questions. I don't remember at the top of my head, but just let me go to my program outline, and I will have that. Okay, so we have like AI, big data in business, advanced programming, analytics strategy, data visualization and management, foundations for statistical analysis, and a lot of other electives as well. I think we have 10 electives. That's what I believe. Yeah. So do go to our website to actually look at the details. So each module, we actually have a short description on it. Yeah. So you can get more information on our website than from me. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. For everyone listening in Regine's defense, she works with the admissions team and is able to answer admissions related questions, but she's very kindly put up some program information as well.
Thank you.
There are a few more questions. I'll try and take one or two more from the chat box as well. There's another one from Harini, who she said she's asking about a cybersecurity program. Does NTU at large have a cybersecurity course at all?
I believe we do, because it is quite an important emerging area as well, because everything is going online now, right? So cybersecurity is definitely an important consideration in all this. So I believe there is, but it's not offered by the Nanyang Business School. Sorry about that. It's probably by maybe the Computer Engineering College. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
There's a question from Adnan who says, and this is probably going again into the academic domain a little bit more, but if you'd like, if there's any thoughts you want to share with this, he's keen to learn supply chain analytics. What would you suggest as a good starting point?
Oh, actually, I think for our business analytics program, right, it's really industry and sector agnostic. So which means that you're able to apply what you have learned in the business analytics program into different business domain. So which is why our graduates work with, for example, some of them are with Singapore Airlines, some of them are with Shopee, some of them are with Alibaba. Some of them are with the banking and finance institutions. So you can see they are widespread, from marketing to finance to tech and e-commerce to airlines. So you can be in any field. So I'm sure we have students in supply chain as well, because it's also a field that actually will benefit from AI, machine learning, and all that. Yeah, so definitely, yes.
Wonderful. Great. We'll take one last question. And this comes from Gauri, who's fundamentally somebody who is a fresh graduate and is thinking, potentially about an MBA or a specialized master. She says, as a BCom, which is a Bachelor's of Commerce graduate, is an MBA an option? And what would be your thoughts on that?
Okay, so if you're fresh graduates, well, you do need to work for a few years, especially I think most top MBAs program requires a full-time work experience of at least 2 to 3 years before they accept you into an MBA program. So Nanyang Business School is no exception. So our minimum requirement is at least 2 years of full-time work experience before you're eligible, kind of like meet the admissions requirements. So I would say that, which is why MBA's program are called the post-experience program, whereas specialized masters are called the pre-experience program, because we do not require any work experience. So I think it really depends on your career choice, what you want to do. So if you are thinking of, you have a certain area that you want to deep dive in, you want to, work in, say, marketing, but you feel that your knowledge is a little bit limited, and you want to kind of get a deeper, more in-depth learning in that. So maybe you can choose say marketing science master's program. So that will give you more in-depth knowledge in that area. For MBA program, our MBA program is a 1-year full-time program. So it is a more general, where you cover everything from, HR, leadership, management, marketing, finance. And then we do offer specialization tracks as well, like data analytics, human capital management, marketing, strategy, banking, finance, etc. So it has a more business, fundamentals, and then you specialize into any of our tracks. So it's a little bit different, and they're usually offered for people with work experience, because that's where, and they have a lot more emphasis on leadership modules, because that's where you are going to be, you are like heading a little team, or going to be promoted, going to do more management strategic level things. That's where maybe an MBA program will be more suitable for you at that point of time. As a fresh graduate, maybe just starting out your career, so maybe a specialized master's program for you to deep dive into a certain domain area, maybe a better choice for you. But of course, it all depends on your career goals. Yeah.
Wonderful. There's one question that's coming from Tanya, which I'll probably answer on your behalf, Regine, given this information has been shared. Tanya asks, she's coming from a commerce background, having about 20 months of experience, looking for a course in business analytics or marketing. Tanya, there were 2 programs in particular that Regine spoke about. One is the Master of Science in Business Analytics, and the other one being the Master of Science in Marketing Sciences. Have a look at the NTU program. You should be able to learn about everything there. Regine, would you be comfortable sharing your email address with candidates on the chat group here, or an email where they can send you any questions as well?
Sure, I'll be most happy to. Actually, I have prepared it, so it's on the screen right now.
Wonderful.
Yes.
For any further questions that any of you may have, I'm sure Regine will be more than happy to answer them for you. Her email address is on the screen here. With that, Regine, any last words that you'd like to share with candidates that are still with us? It's been 90 minutes and over 150 of you are still here. We really appreciate you holding back. Regine, any last thoughts?
Well, thank you so much for staying with us this evening. I have a wonderful time, and thank you to Faraz and your team for helping us to put together this wonderful sessions. Hope to do more of such session with Faraz and your team. Thank you so much. And hopefully some of you will, apply to our programs, maybe this year or next year. I welcome all inquiries. So do reach out to me anytime. Yeah.
Thank you, Regine. With that, I'd love to thank everyone attending with us today. We hope this session helped you with making some choices in your higher education journey. Like always, stay tuned to our social media channels for more such sessions with NTU and several other schools that we work with. All the very best, and we look forward to hosting you again. Thank you, Regine, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you.